for full disclosure, I wrote it up and I lost it all. So this is what I'm trying to prevent everybody from doing, because I've done this. I've gone up. I've been in the euphoria, like it's never going to stop. It's peaking. We're at 14. And then wham, we're down to $96. Like we lost like 80% of our portfolio in 2017, 18, because we weren't prepared for this kind of thing. We fell into the euphoria. And so that's what we have to learn from. We learn from our mistakes in the past so we can grow better futures. So then when we look at Ethereum, what we typically do is, like, Ethereum kind of launched in 2015-ish. So I've got the data up to 2016. But when we look at this cycle, we had March 1st, 2017, Ethereum starts peaking or starts spiking a little bit. So we had March, we had January was okay, February, March, April, May, big month. Same thing as what Bitcoin looked like. June was another good one. July was a bit of a correction. Then August peaked again, and then September corrected a little bit. Remember, Bitcoin also corrected in September, so be prepared for that to be maybe a terrible month. We just don't know. We don't know for sure, but we can say that usually the red candles come from when the CME futures expire. And so this year, when the CME futures, the quarterly futures expire, you can expect them to expire. I think the next one's June, the end of June. So we can expect that to be a down month. And then we can expect September to be a down month, because that's when the next ones expire. And then I think it's like December or something like that. So December is like the drop dead date in my opinion. But okay, so then as we watch this cycle, in 2017. And so when you look at Ethereum, it's an altcoin. So we can get a good idea of when the alts will peak based on what we see from Ethereum and based on what the cycles of Ethereum look like. So we did May, then we did June, and then we went up in August, little correction in September, same thing as Bitcoin. October was a recovery month, and then November, December, January, we kind of launched in 2018. And so when we go back and look at the 2018 cycle for Bitcoin, I believe we had a similar flow. So let's go back and look at Bitcoin for a second. And we'll look at how closely it correlates with Ethereum. Okay, so when we look at the 2017 cycle of Bitcoin, we see that we peaked in December in 2018 for Bitcoin, and then January we kind of plummeted. So if we peaked in December for Bitcoin, and then we go back and look at ETH, in that 2017 cycle, ETH peaked in January. So that's important, a really important function to notice and pay attention to. Bitcoin peaked a month earlier than Ethereum. And so what does that tell me from the past? Well, it tells me that we might possibly see the top of Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin tumble, and then the alts go parabolic after that. Why? Because that puts us back into an alt season. So when Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin dominance goes up, and the alts, there's not as much money flowing into the alts. And then when Bitcoin goes down and collapses, the alts skyrocket because money starts flowing back into the alts. So that tells you that there might possibly be a case to where Bitcoin launches, and then Bitcoin has its total correction, and then the alts launch that same month when Bitcoin corrects. So it tells me, and what I'll do for my portfolio is I will start moving Bitcoin out first, and then the following month I'll start moving the alts out a certain percentage every day, so that way I can ride the top and I don't like try to FOMO out right at the last second. But so that way I know my Bitcoin's probably going to come out first, and then I'm going to pull the alts out in Ethereum, and that will protect me and insulate me from when we get the big drop. Because, for example, even if I sell it, if I was smart back here and I sold Ethereum at 1,010, and then I waited it out and rebought it back in at $96, like I've just set myself up for massive life-changing wealth in the next bull cycle, because I was smart. I didn't wait till this. This doesn't matter. Even if I got out here, 964, and bought back in at $83, guess what? Next bull cycle, you have a lot to play with. You have a lot more to play with, a lot more to work with. So by being smart about this and setting yourself up to be out, you can get back in and really take care of yourself for the next cycle, because you're going to take some profits from it, but you're also going to buy back in. So that way, when the next cycle comes about, you're already ready to go and you're ready to crush it. And so let's look at the Ethereum chart, where we started really entering this cycle. You notice the triangle, which tells us that a bullish trend, the previous trend of awful bear market, is going away. And we have a confirmation of a bullish trend here on the month, which is pretty crazy. And that it actually did. So when we look at the Ethereum cycle, we had December 2019, and then big correction in March. March is a terrible month, always April 1st, 2020. And then we really started to go. We got that correct, the previous trend reversal confirmation here. And then July, we saw Ethereum go from 227 to like 351. Then we had another green month. And then we had September, which was a down month. Then we had a recovery month. And then November, this is when everything started really popping off. So November, we had a massive climb. December, we had a massive climb. January, we had a massive climb. February, we had a bit of a correction. February, we went from 2000 all the way back down. So February wasn't the best month for Ethereum. A lot of price suppression and stuff happening. March ended up being a good month for Ethereum. And then April is another good month for Ethereum. So what does this tell me? Well, I mean, number one, look at this in comparison to the previous cycle we were on. Like we had 1, 2, 3 candles and then we dumped. What's happening here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this tells me this is a monster cycle in comparison to what we saw previously. Like this wouldn't even be a blip on the radar if this was like the Bitcoin chart that was a lot longer. But so that tells me that we're likely not even close to the end of the cycle for Ethereum either. And so what this tells me is I'm probably going to, even if I miss the very top, I'll try to get out of Bitcoin around November, and I'll probably try to get out of Ethereum around December, or maybe a little bit earlier based on what I see happening in the charts along the way. But when we look at this in comparison to previous trends, we know January is probably like, if you're not out by the end of January, you have a good chance of getting crushed. And so you don't want to get crushed. I'd honestly rather be out. What is this candle? December 736 and buy back in at, let's see, $96. I'd rather get out on this candle than try to wait it out to get to this candle, because my buying power is significantly higher here. I'm going to pull massive profits when we get to that place. So big thing to pay attention to is, and key takeaways from this are, number one, you want to pull a certain percentage of your portfolio out every day so you can ride it up, but you can also pull profits out along the way. Number two thing is, it seems and it appears that alts will peak about a month after Bitcoin. So what that means is I'm probably going to be moving my Bitcoin out first, and then I'll start moving my alts out once I see Bitcoin start to collapse. When I see Bitcoin start to collapse, I'm going to put a big short in so I can short the whole way down, but I'm also going to be prepared. When I start to see this happening, I know that alts are going to go parabolic. And then I know that's my drop dead date. Get my alts out and take my profits, put it in US dollar coin, and then reinvest and buy back in, take a certain amount of profits for myself, and then put it back in so I'm ready for the next bull run. And what that does is I pull profits so I don't have to work for a living for the next 4 years. And then I put profits back in so that the next bull cycle happens, I don't have to work again for the next 4 years. And you can time this so you don't have to really do anything else other than kind of time these markets right. You're never going to time them perfect. You're never going to find the absolute top. You're never going to find the absolute bottom, but you can protect and insulate yourself from getting demolished. You don't want to be the person who has a 1414 Ethereum and then thinks it's going to go on forever and then gets crushed down to $100. It's just a terrible place to be in. And I can tell you because I did that. I held a lot of Ethereum all the way down. And so now that I'm better informed and I'm paying attention, I can put myself in a place to actually pull things out at the right time and time the market appropriately and know that a bull market doesn't last forever. So that's how I would build an exit strategy. I hope this is helpful, you guys. Let me know. Drop a hell yeah down below if you guys think this is helpful. It's pretty much all I have to say for today. And if you have any questions, drop them down below and I'll stay on and I'll answer questions for a little bit as well. Nicole says, this is fantastic. Awesome. That's what I want to hear. The goal here is to make sure that we can help everybody accumulate wealth. Obviously, it's not financial advice, but we want to make sure that we can build this group to a place to where everybody wins and nobody gets crushed by the market. And it's kind of the goal. So let me know if you guys have any questions, drop them down below. If you have any questions after I jump off the live, just drop them down and I'll do something and I'll do another live. I think next time I want to do a video on how to diversify your portfolio. So how to understand the differences and find the storage coins, the NFTs, the Polkadot ecosystem, the Binance, and really how to create a diversified portfolio. So when certain things are popping and certain things aren't, your whole portfolio doesn't get crushed. So hopefully you guys like this. I will chat with you all later.